It's kind of interesting the way these two teams have approached the opening of the draft, right? Like when you look at Team
Yeah.
Unique, this should more or less be their support duo, right? We see a lot of
Hmm.
teams, I feel like, leaning away from that unless it's this potent duo that synergizes a lot or isn't hotly contested. And then
Hmm.
HellRaisers side, they've gone for this kind of like double core lock in, which is also, I want to say, not as popular. Usually your opener is a support and then like a flex between support and core.
Yeah, it is a bit weird for me as well. Like I think show Phoenix Rubik like this, you can like your those are most likely your 4 and 5. Like I mean, you could play Phoenix in off lane, but now that you also picked Underlord, it's very unlikely. When I look at HellRaisers, I still see Magnus can kind of be anything from 3 to mid to 4. Well, now it's probably off lane or mid, but I still kept it open for really late. So it's yeah, it's a bit weird from Munich, but maybe they just are really confident about this Phoenix Rubik being so strong heroes.
Yeah, I mean, like credit where credit's due, right? If there were two heroes you could highlight in the support category that kind of
Hmm.
held their own for many patches now, it's
Yeah.
definitely Rubik and Phoenix.
Yep.
Phoenix, no matter how much they nerf it, it hangs around. And Rubik, I feel like ever since they changed Arcane Supremacy, right? That's when we've never really seen Rubik fall off as a popular pick.
Yeah, people used to like before that spell was a thing. I think people often actually just picked Rubik when it was a good Rubik. Like you could steal a lot of good spells, and then
Hmm.
it made sense. But now Rubik is just a good hero in general. Like even with your own lift later on the game, it's a long stun, and then you can one if you get any type of like lockdown, it just scales so well with this spell. So Rubik just scales really good as a support later stages in the game as well, and it's not a bad laner as well. So has a lot of value as a hero.
I think maybe like one way they could bring him in line balance because I do think it's like Imbar in the way that he's not one of these kind of OP like when Broodmother dictates a patch type heroes, right? But like
Yeah.
he's just there's never a bad game for Rubik. I want to say
Yeah.
is maybe like step one would be if you had to toggle Arcane Supremacy between Magic Amp or like
Hmm.
the duration
The
amplification.
stun duration.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
stun duration.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would be one thing. They had that one thing before that you could like you. It was like you had defensive one. You could give your team, I think,
Yeah, I
and
remember
then I
that.
was like, that was interesting. But I also think like the one thing that they have been trying to do because Rubik was considered pretty strong laner some time ago. He's still a fine laner, but like the Fade Bolt power is so strong when you can trade with many heroes. Like you Fade Bolt the wave, you get the heroes as well. They don't really hit that much, and then you can kind of hit with them. So that's like the power of Rubik, I think, the laning stage. But
Yeah.
obviously, you can still play around it if you have some strong heroes. Rubik doesn't really have an escape route, so if you get on top of the hero, kind of just die. Lift level 1 is not that strong of a spell as well, so
They did slightly nerf his attack speed, right? So they tried to
yeah,
tweak the
yeah.
early phase, but it's just that hero that I feel like whenever Ryu gets drafted straight away, the first thing I say is, well, technically this team really can't lose the lane unless they like ultra
Hmm.
feed. The lane is going to
Yeah.
be content. Hellraisers, by the way, in this second phase, I mean, this should be their two supports, but like it looks to me as if Hellraisers intend to just try and run Team Unique over at the start of the lane, which is something surprising when you see that Unique have gone for the Rubik we just discussed and the aforementioned Phoenix.
Hmm. I mean, I think the Skyrod pick for sure is like I know Little kind of likes the hero. I've seen him played it in pubs every now and then, so I think that hero can kind of abuse the weaknesses of Phoenix and Rubik on laning stage because the Skyrod can just pull out a really lot of damage on the lane, and if you have a strong offlaner who can play in front for you, you can just play the Skyrod game with like less regen but a lot of damage. So there's the potential for like a really heavy harassment coming out from the Skyrod. Um, and then also in the game, he has a lot of ways of like utilizing the Skyrod. They have Faces Void and they have Magnus and Grimstroke as well. So all their spells can kind of set up for Skyrod to do a lot of damage in the fights so
Yeah.
far.
It's kind of interesting actually because I feel like we don't ever see Skywrath picked by the EU teams. And I
Yeah.
mean, this is like something I've discussed with a few players and a few analysts. Is it to do with the different play styles? Because I feel like CIS plays more to the lanes, whereas EU right now, the meta for them is focusing on that mid game after the lane.
Well, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I'm sure like everyone kind of values lanes like high, at least in high tier, because it is a so important thing. But at the same time, I think Skyride is mostly also like a player preference hero. I think the hero can be good in some scenarios, but I just think some players don't like it as much as others. Like I think if you like the hero, you spam it kind of a lot and in pubs and whatnot, and then you like to play the hero. That's how I kind of feel about Skyrod. I think the hero is good in some scenarios. However, it is it is a four that it's just gonna deal a lot of damage. It's a bit like Lina in a way, like as a four. Like
Mm.
you will deal a lot of damage, but you're also very easily to get killed if you don't like know what you're doing. So it's kind of like kind of like 50-50 sometimes, and especially in this game you're playing against Spectre, so it's not gonna be an easy Skyward game once the laning stage is over. But if they crush the lanes, they can kind of run them over the with the Skyward stuff as well. They have really good setup for him, so that feels good.
Yeah, it's interesting you kind of like bring up the comparative, right? It's like a lot of the
Yeah.
time we see fours prioritized that they have some means to farm, I think is one piece of it, right? And then they can scale, whereas Skyriff always seems to be this hero. It's in that undying category, right? Like you take it to just beat the crap out of the lane and then levy an advantage there. Whereas if a
hmm
Skyriff falls behind in a game, it feels like dead weight.
Yeah. That is kind of the problem with Skyrod. Like you need to do well in your lane and then just keep going from there. So that can be the problem for Skyrod for sure. But I think with Magnus is kind of strong offlaner, the way you play it right now, so it should be fine. I think they should be able to pressure them pretty well in this bottom lane with their heroes. So
It looks like they want to pressure them in every lane. Because something we didn't get
yeah,
onto yet is this final pick Viper. I don't know about you, but I'm looking at this and like this is one of the more gotcha Viper picks I've seen in a while.
yeah. I was actually a bit surprised that it wasn't banned here because I honestly thought it's gonna be. It's a very strong hero here for sure for them. It's good against Underlord and the Spectre, and it's also a good lane against the Invoker. Like Viper should be really fine against this hero.
Yeah, I mean Invoker can
Surprised it
maybe
wasn't banned.
sustain because this should be like
Yeah,
boss Wex Invoker. We don't really see too many exhausts these days, but it's you're not like if you go GPK on a hero, right? Like we just talked
yeah,
about how
yeah,
amazing he is. You don't want to hear GPK survive in his lane phase. You want to hear that
yeah.
GPK is beating the crap out of his lane opponent and dominating the map.
So how I see this going, like just because of GPK, I think it might go 50-50. Like I think he's gonna be able to do fine, but I would say that in like a normal matchup, I think Viper should crush this lane or at least like win the lane. Even if you're cross Vex, because you will be on region, but I think the Viper can just out last hit you and you will still lose a lot of HP. It's still a lot of damage that the Viper can bring out, but I can see it going 50, like even in this lane. I'm not. I don't think Invoker is gonna win this by any means, but I think he's if he does even and he can rotate on the side lanes, he can make it work for sure.
Man, that is some weak digging game from 19 team, by the way. Like Conic dug up 5,000 battle pass points. What? And then you just see this dig come out from 19 team. The smallest thing get 100 battle points. Like this
It's
measurement
bad,
does
man.
not bode well. Like imagine you going to the lane. All right, this gonna be a foreboding moment? Are we gonna look at this lane and go, yeah, I can kind of see Funnick not only dominating in the battle pass digging, but also dominating in the CS here.
Yeah, I can see that. This lane on bottom, I think HellRaisers should have a pretty good time here with these two heroes. I think Phoenix should not enjoy this lane too much, but if he can make some space for the Spectre, maybe they can be fine. But I would expect this lane at like level 3. Magnus is gonna be pretty annoying to deal with. So far doing all right. Starting
Uh,
off okay.
GPK getting a little bit of a cheeky advantage in the mid. He was actually able to snipe Kasani's Courier there.
Yeah, that's a small misplay by him there, and now GPK already 3D nice from this first phase. So starting off really strong in this lane, pretty good for him.
I mean, that's quite surprising. It's not like, for example, Invoker's this speedy hero that's able to just run past you and get your Courier so simply, right? Like, this is a low movement speed hero.
Yeah, he might have just I don't know misplayed. I didn't see that. I didn't catch that, but probably just misplayed something there.
I feel like this is actually something, like, if I was to think of a mid that I talk about sniping Couriers a lot, I think GPK is really far up there. There's something about, like, I feel like I always miss it, and it's something I need to learn to do better, is just check in on him when the Couriers are coming out, because there is something about this lad, so often when I'm in the game, that he will manage to get the Courier snipe time and time again on the mid.
Yeah, That is a bit weird. I mean, the good thing, at least in the start, it's not that much gold if you feed it level 1. But then if you start feeding it like more and more, it obviously does scale up pretty fast. So you need to be careful with that. Especially in the mid lane, like you said, it is a bit surprising that you can snipe mid couriers. It shouldn't be that easily to be sniped those couriers, since how do you ever get to hit those couriers if the enemy mid player is like, if you're not like some blink hero, you know, then it's like it should be pretty hard to ever kill those couriers.
Yeah, it's almost like for mids, they don't really think about the potential for Corey snipe from the laning opponent, right? Like, you're always concerned about the support who rotates into yoink your courier, but you never think about your opponent who's directly in front of you having the audacity to just run up and go, yeah, that thing right there, that's extra gold. I'm gonna whack that.
Mm-hmm. It's also a bit interesting from Lil, actually. He went for he bought a raid band, and I have been seeing more and more people buying raid bands on like int heroes, but I'm thinking if it's like that good on this lane, you're playing against two heroes that are kind of like mostly gonna be using spell damage to harass you. There's gonna be some right clicks and stuff as well, but I think if you do the raid band, you mostly wanna abuse the right clicks and the armor, but I don't see Skyrod really using either of those in this lane, so.
Yeah, I was figuring it was for the armor, right? Because like when you think about
Yeah.
Phoenix as a comparative, these are low armor heroes, and if you try to trade as a 0 armor Skywrath, you're going to lose that against the Phoenix, 100%.
Yeah. Might be that. The mid lane. GPK doing pretty fine, considering the lane, so obviously Xani taking a little bit of an advantage, but it's still like, I think GPK is completely fine with it. He even got the wave coming, so he's doing completely fine on this lane.
You have to keep in mind, like, GPK can't really supplement the jungle quickly, right? Whereas we can already see a Viper, 1 point Never Toxin's all you need to run across to the stacks.
Yeah, it's just the thing that for Xani that even though he's gonna be doing a lot on this lane, he still needs to buy a lot of like mana regen and like stuff like that to sustain this harassment. So you can see the net worth, even though he's maybe a bit ahead, the net worth is still like kind of even a bit more like ahead for the Invoker.
Yeah, especially as he keeps munching mangoes. That mango just brought out has already been lost because of GPK. And with that haste, he's going, very far to try and stay healthy, but it's not going to be good enough as GPK will pursue and find him in the tree line.
Alright. Gets the kill there. Haste rune and EMP. He's just playing really well, like for sure. He's using the EMP really well, so he doesn't have mana to just harass him. That is what Viper wants to do on the lane, but can't do that, so good outplays from GPK.
It's the confidence of the way that GPK plays his lanes as well, right? Like, this is the double P. I feel like we're fanboying him at this point. Like, this guy, it's part of a new generation, right? It's something you have to highlight is when they were posturing around the rune, right? Most invokers wouldn't run towards a Viper in that situation, but it reminds me of those situations where, like, say you're playing a Moran and you throw an arrow, right? And you know where the guy should be. But let's say you're playing against someone who hasn't been playing the game for as long as you are, or like the more classic one is you're playing in a different rank. And they do a sidestep. You're like, that makes no sense. That's inefficient, right?
Yeah.
But it works because it catches you off guard. And I feel like that's something GPK does time and time again against his opponents. Is he plays oddly aggressive on these matchups that shouldn't be favored for him.
Yeah, I think he definitely plays like off to his limits sometimes, and I mean mostly it works because he just does it make it work. But yeah, I mean he's definitely a really talented player, and yeah, like you said, we're fanboying him a bit, but he's definitely has been showing it like why he has this, like everyone is kind of hyping him up. Definitely a really talented player.
Yeah, do you think part of that is that kind of he's young and new and he hasn't made the mistakes that like these seasoned veterans used to, right? Like you imagine these mid players that have been playing for 10 years and they would make X play because they know the chances of it succeeding and backfiring is really high.
Hard to say. I mean, there's still like a lot of these mid players that I've seen and still doing fine against him and stuff. But I mean, he definitely does some things that it's like not like the normal by the book kind of plays for mid laners. And I think mid lane is kind of a really odd lane anyway in general. Like you see a lot of different playstyles. You can see Thompson, who started this own way of like just running around, kind of doing kills, and he kind of made his own way. I think GPK is starting to try to do his own thing. He's kind of crushing his lane and still depends on the game how he wants to play. He can do both. All right.
I haven't really been paying attention to this lane because I mean, that kill shouldn't happen.
No, that
Ever.
shouldn't happen. Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
bit surprising. Maybe just playing to over. He's kind of having a rough lane here. Like BCC having 21 denies, so
Jesus.
probably just frustrated on this lane or something on the void. Like he's really underfarmed.
Mhm.
So they're just out denying and maybe just playing like two. Maybe he's maybe tilted a little bit. Who knows? Like dying like that shouldn't probably happen. And there's another deny.
I mean, yeah, well, I hadn't looked up here yet, and admittedly I should have because, like you said, the CS situation. But the weird part
Yeah.
about that death as well is, like, instantly, as soon as I saw it, I clicked on BZZ, expecting to see a point in Pit of Malice, but that's not even the case. They've just been casually burning through his health and killing him off.
Yep. They're just. It's just like that's the thing about the void. I think some like lanes don't like to play against void if you can't kill the hero. But the best way you beat void, I feel like, is like this type of Beastmaster Underlord type of heroes that you can just slowly deny everything, like play on the like slowly chip his HP down and like just deny as much as you can, and then you can eventually the void is gonna be low HP without the time walk, and then you can kill him. That's kind of how you want to play against void, and the Underlord is a kind of perfect hero for that.
Yeah, it's like you don't want this burst. Like, admittedly, Rubik kind of brings that burst, but it doesn't matter because the side benefit is that damage reduction that comes out from Fade Bolt as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. You're playing against the Aura from Underlord and then also this Fade Bolt, so it's pretty hard to trade ever with the Underlord.
Well, a little play attempt in the bot lane, Funnick off the mark. That probably would have been a kill in 19 team. Like, does it mean you or would... I feel like Unique are very much just... I don't want to say winning all 3 lanes, but I feel like even the Spectre is incredibly content with the state of bot lane.
Yeah, I think he's fine. Like this, he's 10 denies, he's 4 elastics. It's more farm than the Magnus, so he's probably really happy about this lane. I would expect this lane to be harder for him, but they made it work, so he's happy for sure about this lane. Overall, I think Unique is really happy how about the game is going.
Oh, there's the Void. Oh, he's screwed. Gone. Fade Bolt to zap him down on Grada, seen in the tree line, but is able to TP away. So early rotation from Unique to the top lane to try and
Should be
secure
a
this
free
tier
tower
one.
as well. Yeah. And that's a good use of the Haunt and just GPK running around doing these kills. Viper just farming up, so he's using the space really well on GPK and making stuff happen. Now they're gonna able to get this tower and secure this side of the map, and they can even start warding this up. Give the Spectre this lane maybe, and just enjoy this. Enjoy Spectre life. Farm.
Ah, music to a character's ears. It's like,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's like it's cool the way that they're playing away from the Viper as well. Like, despite GPK getting that first kill, because what we see in a lot of mid matchups is you kill your opponent once and it kind of snowballs, right? But Viper isn't that. Viper's more tricky than that. Usually, it's like you need to kill him 2-3 times. So instead of trying to overwhelm Kasani, I like that GPK is playing the outer lanes to try and take control of the game.
He's just abusing the fact that what Viper lacks is, so sure, he's a laning dominator hero, but what hero this is a very slow hero, doesn't really counter gank that well, or like gank in general. So mostly what you can do with mid Viper is this: you're gonna farm up, you get some mech, and then you can go take some towers. But GPK is using that, like he won his lane, and then now he's also just running around side lanes and killing this Void and making his life hard. So just abusing the weaknesses of Viper.
Yeah, I just love how you bring up the movement speed situation, right? Like, he's got Faded Brooch.
Yeah.
He's got his boots. It's a 340 movement speed hero, guys. Woo!
Yeah. So anything he's gonna do is he needs TP to anything. Like he can almost never match up the Invoker just running around the map. So if he wants to be somewhere, he needs to TP for that. And if they don't play around the towers, it's hard.
That's cool. I mean, I don't know if they're actually going to get this. BCC, he's got the route in 5 seconds, moving across. Chrono goes down to get the kill.
The Chrono.
But you had the Chrono for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the kill, at least. I mean, that's kind of what you need at this point for the Void. Like, you can see how destroyed he is. He definitely needs this type of kills. But yeah, they use the Chrono for level 5 Phoenix, so I'm sure Unique is not too unhappy with that. And now they can know that Chrono is down for more than 2 minutes now, and they can just make moves and maybe even take this mid tower. That's what they're looking to do.
That's looked like the thing that might have been a good offset, right? Is you forced Underlord to the bot lane, that's the hard pusher, but you can already see that they don't care. With a Rubik and Invoker, they'll look to take the tower, and if he's not careful, Non-Grata take his head, they'll bring him low, drag him back towards his death.
Yeah.
Another one in the bag.
Same time, it's like, even though you like, I think the Underlord is pretty happy about this because he's also, for them to kill Underlord, they have to be like 3 heroes or at least a Viper. And if the Underlord is just gonna stick here, the Durachi is not gonna have a place to farm right now. He has to go to jungle, or like I guess he can farm now when the lane is pushed in, but it's really annoying for the Void. He doesn't have many spaces, like much space to farm on right now.
No, and actually they're trying to jump him right now. They'll root him up. He's got the max time walk, but that zones him away so he can take this tier 1 tower and just continue to shrink this map quickly.
They're just keeping up the pressure non-stop, which is really good. Good to see. You're playing against Magnus Void Viper, and you're just taking off these towers and making the map as small as possible for HellRaisers to play. So it's gonna be pretty annoying for them to get some farmer space right now. Everyone is kind of in this same area farming, except from the Viper.
I think the fact that BZZ's got off to a good start is the scariest part of HellRaisers, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can see with this Hood of Defiance, like, I can't think of a game that I've seen in a while that's had so much value for a quick Hood. Like,
Yeah,
every
this is
single
really
one of these heroes is magical damage based, right?
Yeah, it's also like the, I mean, the good thing is that they have the Viper, so they have the potential of killing him, but it's still like, it's a really good Hood game, and it's like, in order for them to kill the Underlord, they have to do a lot, and then they still have other heroes as well that can do things, so it's a really nice pickup from him here. They're smoking up for 19 teen here, but he knows something is up, yeah. But
Well,
BCZ
hold
though.
up. I don't think you want BZZ, though.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, you see the slug coming and you run away.
Yeah.
Because
If
he's
you
ready to
commit on,
fight.
yeah, if you commit on BCC too hard, they will just haunt in and just turn it around. So yeah, they're in a pretty hard position on HellRaisers here right now. They just have to get well, they have Chrono, and what they can do is that they do have a pretty good team fight. They have a mech and they have a lot of magic damage, so they need to try to catch these supports or Invoker in the Chrono and then do a lot of the magic damage. That's the way they can take a fight, but for them to start a fight is really hard. I think it's mostly gonna be Unique is gonna start the fight, and then you're gonna need to counter initiate. But it's that's how I see this game going right now.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing, right, is like, what you always say when you got Magnus Draft is what you have for Magnus Draft. So, you know, worst comes to worst, just let your Void farm. But the thing that Unique is doing really well is skirting this pressure zone, right? They're not going too deep. They can easily be punished for it, but they've shrunk the map to a point that HellRaisers have lost control of, I want to say, like, a third of their potential farm area. And they're going to lose more heroes. Phonic, out of mana, dragged back and tries to skew away. Drags 19 team with him, though. The Hornet across the other side of the fight will be able to connect on additional heroes. BZZ is being brought low. Kesani needs to retreat, though. And BZZ, he might just live, will tick out with a final poison attack. Kesani, though, is going to go down as a result in a trade. 19 team getting the double kill.
Yeah, they do kill the BCC at least, so they can be happy for that. But at the same time, they lose the fight, and now they're gonna probably lose this tier 2 tower as well. Or maybe not. I guess without BCC they don't have the best push. But still, pretty good fight for Unique from HellRaisers. At least the voice survives and he can keep farming. That's what they need. They need to give this Empower constantly to Rechi, and he just needs to keep farming. And that's their winning condition in this game, so.
And more importantly, they didn't use their big ultimates, right? They've still got the Chrono,
Yeah.
they've still got the RP to play with. So now maybe Unique have to be a little bit more defensive than what they're being in the bot lane right now. RP,
Oh,
no
that
hesitation. That time warp, beautifully done, but Illusion's
Yeah,
still
he's
going to be brought down.
Still gonna die, but cool little play from him there. But yeah, good stuff from HellRaisers these few minutes now. I mean, that fight they lost top. Sure, they lost that fight, but they killed BCC and they didn't use too much, so they can now get this tower. They should still be able to defend top tower as well. Some much needed space for Durachi to keep farming.
And
Definitely recovering pretty well with the Empower. That's the power. Sure, like even though he had a real rough laning stage and stuff, with this Empower he's been starting to catch up now, and he gets to this BKB part. It's gonna be a good time for them to take a fight.
That's true. It's something I've talked about quite a lot at the moment. It's like when we're looking at these teams that, you know, would be classified as like the tier 2 teams. Magnus is a simplifier, right? He kind of dumbs your draft down in a good way. Same as things like Beastmaster. Kunkka was that for a while, less so at the moment. Like they just kind of fill all these gaps in your lineup and tick so many boxes that it's hard to see it as a bad pick, shall we say.
Yeah. I mean, Magnus definitely feels good hero right now. It's not also the fact that you can play it, like people play it in so many roles now. You play it in like 3 to 4 to 5, even like the mid lane. Like you can basically play it everywhere. And if you have I mean, mostly it's a best offlane hero, I would say. So it feels pretty good in that scenario. And then you can just make your carry be able to be active, but at the same time you can still like scale up and farm well. So that's kind of the nice part about the Magnus that definitely makes the hero really strong right now.
Yeah, it's like when you look at what he has as a skill set, right? You've got this buff accelerant for like your carries that also increase damage in the fights. You've got this mobility spell, and you've got this giant team fight stun that goes for BKB. Not really much this hero is missing.
Yeah, not exactly that. That's the thing. Like, definitely, the Magnus makes the Void stronger. Like the Void is a strong hero itself, but like when you can get this Magnus, it just makes the hero way better just by this one spell that you have, the Empower. So
Being that Faceless Void, he's shown bot. 19 is here. The difference being that one can instantaneously arrive in the fight. So
yeah, I think HellRaisers just they don't want to force in a fight right now. They have a PKB almost ready on the Faceless Void, and once they have that, I think they're gonna look to take a fight. But right now, forcing a fight would be really bad. So they want to keep this tower alive, but they're like, you can see their positioning. They're like really, they don't really want to go too hard on them. They're warding up right now a bit though, so they're kind of leaving out the base a bit.
so unique. Vanscore just scouted them coming out into the jungle, but it looks like Unique don't want to fight either. I wonder if there's someone they're actually waiting on right now.
I mean, they might think the Void might have the BK because they know that he's really close to it.
That's what they're waiting for. They want to see Funnick first. Pull down to half HP. Horn to pursue through with the cold snap on him. Inkswell to get him away. They'll turn around. Nongrada's thrown out the Soulbind. And Void is walking across, but it's too late to get a turnaround. They at least minimize the casualties to just the POS 5.
That's alright though. Like there's a Haunt used, there's a Soulbind. The Soulbind saved Funnick there, so now they could take a mid fight here. They have a BKB on the Void and they have a Blink as well, Brink RP on the Magnus. So this is probably the best chance for HellRaisers to take a fight right now.
They're reluctant to commit on the BCZ though. Duraccio was looking for the back line, unable to find it, as Illusion does have that time walk again, so he's always able to escape. Say escape. He's looming around here. It looks like they're not going to get the opportunity to play that Chrono, and it's just going to go back to this kind of status quo of split push.
Yeah, I mean, both teams lack a little bit of the way of starting the fight now. I mean, HellRaisers, they have a Blink Magnus as well, but it's pretty hard for him to start a fight still. Like, he doesn't want to be the first guy that's just RPs. Wants to wait for a little bit before he sees, and then at the same time, Unique, they have a Rubik and Invoker who can kind of start fights, but not the easiest way as well. Oh. Okay.
They realized before they used the RP. Yeah. That's the good news.
Yeah. I thought by the chat wheels, I didn't see it right away, so I thought like, oh boy, that happened. But no, it didn't happen in the end. Arcane Rune. Yeah, both teams are just not doing too much right now. I mean, Unique is getting more farm by this, even though they have the Empower. Boy, the problem for HellRaisers is kind of only the Ratio who is farming really well. Everyone else is kind of clamped up on the same area because they have to play like that. They can't split up too much against this Invoker, Rubik, Spectre. So they just have to be clamped up and farm, but they're gonna be going behind pretty much on farm that way. The Ratio is gonna be the only one who's gonna be scaling pretty well for them right now.
Yeah, it's definitely where Unique have their strengths in the draft, right? Because his Underlord can split push, arrive in the fights. The Spectre can split push, arrive in the fights. And they're going to try and start a fight now. BZZ moving in. Funnick's going to skewer him back and away, but he doesn't want him. He just wants to escape. Soulbind thrown out. Non-Grata decides he actually wants to try and fight this. Going to force out the egg. And he can't bring it down himself, so likely you're going to see the Grimstroke fall here, but he'll happily trade his life for that egg. Moving in. Illusion has got the time walk in 2 seconds, but the dilation is slowing that down by quite a bit. He will be able to move away nonetheless because he's saved by BZZ. This fight is proving so slow. Movement in with the skewer across. The Horn's going to come through on the low, trying to bring him down quick enough. RP does connect on the BZZ, dragging him, but there was a move away by 19. He's able to escape, move across the other side of the fight where Duraccio is able to bring down Illusion, and Chrono is not good enough to kill off GPK. On the other side, BZZ will go down, but the time wasted by the side of HR allows them to get anyone else out. Vanscore might be left behind as he's got no spells left. And HR, big ultimates used, but they take the fight in their favor.
Yeah, so that was a pretty massive fight, but Terechio like zoning out 3 heroes by himself. He didn't get the best chrono. He only killed the Rubik, but he still like that fight was like kind of split apart. There was like 4 heroes from HellRaisers fighting against like 2 heroes, and then Terechio fighting 3 heroes. But with the big AB, they don't really have anything to do this void right now. So the void is gonna have like free time whenever he has this big AB. So, but a good fight for HellRaisers. That's definitely a needed fight that they need to. Now they can farm up a little bit more and split up on the map. There's no haunt now, so
Yeah, and what we're seeing from Unique is this very much baited by the non-Grada Grimstroke, right? Like 2 fights in a row now where that's kind of what you feel like they're going to have to settle for. But this time around, they force the matter a little bit too extensively. We can see how HR can punish that when that's the case.
it can be a risky Roshan as well a bit. I mean, they don't have chrono. Maybe they should be able to do it. Without the chrono, they don't really have that much like way of starting the fight or less
they might lose more heroes if they're not careful. Phonic, nope. You're not going in, says the Illusion. It lifts him up and knocks him down right into the arms of Team Unique who are waiting.
Alright, pure Roshan. And that's gonna make the Spectre's game way better. Because even though the Spectre is really farmed, he still is annoyed about this Viper Nether Toxin. Now he can play a bit more aggressive and even like maybe like sacrifice his life one time for his team and then can come back alive and then kill them. So nice ages to get still there, and now they can probably get this tier 2 tower. Panic is dead, so they shouldn't be able to defend this tower.
And also, like that aforementioned situation now that 19 Team can play on the fight, he's much more of a threat to this Viper now that he has the Diffusal Blade complete.
Yeah. Before it was a bit hard for him to just kill him, but now with this Manta Diffusal, he should be able to like pressure him way more. Even like now this Skyrat and Grimstroke, they're gonna be so sad. Like they will just feed in this fight to 19 teams. So it's gonna be a good power spike coming from Unique for the next upcoming fight. I also like the BKB for Spectre. I don't normally think that BKB is good for Spectre, but I think this is one of those games that if you get the BKB, there's very little what they can do to you in this game. There's RP and there's Chrono, but it's still like the way that they kill you is mostly about this magic damage / Viper's break. So if you get away with that, you should be able to do a lot. Spectre.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a case of when you're prepping for the later stage of the game where if this does go to 25 as well, you're gonna have to deal with that Never Toxin Silence, and it really is a case of HR. All their heroes are magical. You can talk about the fact they have Empower, you can talk about the fact they have a Void, but even Void relies a decent chunk on the damage from Time Lock in the early phases, which is also magical damage.
Yeah.
You already see 19 Teen. He's looking for someone to swing at, but they back away in time. We'll have to forfeit a rune here or there.
I mean, Unique is taking this map control pretty well right now. They're not really giving too much space for HellRaisers to farm. At least Duraccio is getting this space, and he's actually looking to go for a Skadi. A bit surprised by that. I mean, there's some heroes it's pretty good against. I think the Underlord and the Invoker, it can work pretty well against those. Mid lane though.
Counters the heal rate reasonably well in the mid lane. Grimstroke wishes he had some sort of heal. He's going to be brought down. Viper's also going to fall, and Sonic can just move out of that Never Toxin. Well, he won't even have to give up that Aegis. Right. You probably contemplate high ground. I don't know if you want to go in though, because there's still the Chrono and the RP potential.
Yeah. The Spectre's too low, so he needs to go kind of. They don't really have any heals, or I don't think if they even earn. No, so he just can go to space and farm. He has the haunt, so if they still want to fight, they can have that. They're ready for them.
Yeah, and you can already see their prep for bot lane. BZZ's cut the wave to try and chunk it down, and now you have 19 team pushing in. So if you don't find a fight in the meantime, you'll always more or less be assured to get that tier 2 in about a minute or two.
Yep. DD top lane, I'm sure. I'm surprised if they don't have a bottle, so they can't really do that thing. Guess G-Biggest pick it up. They still have Aegis of Pro a bit, so they should look to use that if they can. At the same time, HellRaisers don't really want to force a fight, so getting to push these lanes is really good.
Oh, hold on. They scout one out. That was a beautifully placed ward, by the way, coming in from the Phoenix there to give the vision for that. So Lil already dead. Non-Grata chased onto as well. Could still go down here. 19 team will have the dagger available in 1 second. Lob it out. And that's goodbye to Grimstroke.
Gonna be dead.
That cheeky moment, though. I think they thought they were going to get more, right? Because that was a ballsy move. Vansko slaps down the ward, and I guess they got a glimpse of a hero and thought the whole team was out and about.
I think that... I mean, that haunt is like... You get some support kills. Sure. Doesn't feel too bad for either team. I feel like they're not going to be able to force too much. But at the same time, Spectre also gets some gold, and now he can get his BKB closer.
This is an ambitious kill. Tempted on the Durachia right now, and they're going to force the BKB out of him.
He's just going to TP out. But they force the BKB for free, and that's always good. If this BKB and Void gets to 5 seconds, he's gonna have a hard time playing against all these roots and stuns, so good little play from there from Unique.
Also good timing, right? Because they're about to lose the Aegis in 20 seconds, so now this BKB being on cooldown for double that, you know, Void won't want to instantly fight.
Yeah, that's the thing as well, and yeah, just not having the Haunt, not having the Aegis, so they can just kind of chill now. That I'm unlikely that the HellRaisers is gonna make a move before the BKB is up, so they're gonna have the Holland at least ready when he's gonna have that as well. So they even want to jump in mid. They know he doesn't have BKB.
And they're trying to force a response more than anything, and they'll notice there are multiple heroes here, so Pink's able to get away after he dives back and gets rooted.
Okay, 19 actually went for the Basher before the BKB, so he just feels really comfortable that he's not gonna die to this Viper. I mean, the Basher makes even easier killing this support. Like, you can see how easy he kills the Skyrot and the Grimstroke, but now, even with this Basher, he can just be even quicker, but he can now probably even kill, or threat of killing the Void and the Viper, so it's alright.
I'm a bit surprised about that BKB situation. I guess it's always rough to try and squeeze it into Spectre's build, I want to say.
Yeah.
But like, we don't usually see, for example, Diffusal into Basher because to an extent you're doing the same thing, right? Obviously one goes through Magic Immunity, but it's that lockdown so that you can individually find kills. And they're trying to find an individual kill. But a Phonic in the mid lane, the Hawk comes in, they've already got rid of Grimstroke, the Soulbind was thrown out, the Chrono only goes down on the Invoker and Rubik though, and with the Egg there, even if he gets this kill on the GPK, it might cost him his life. He's trying to move away, the Egg is going to explode in his face though. Sunray through, Durachio trying to move away, the root on point though from BZZ, connects with 3 heroes, forces the buyback out of the Grimstroke, and they say we're happy with that. We'll move away, knowing that they cannot counterattack.
They're gonna actually go on Durachio still.
Yeah, he's maybe made a mistake here. He gets the Dilation out just in time before Illusion can reach him with the lift though.
Maybe now we're gonna go back.
I don't know. They're kind of looming around. Vansko is in slight problem land right now. That's 3 silencers on top of his head. More than enough to kill off the bird.
Could be a good fight for HellRaisers if they want to take it now.
Trying.
He wants to go in. Durachio is really strong.
Oh my
right
god,
now.
These bashes. BZZ trying to run away. He is not stopping. He's reluctant to leave with less than 1 more kill, but he'll have to.
Making Durachio is playing really cocky, and I like it. Like, he's really strong right now, and even without the Chrono, when those 2 heroes are down, they don't have the BKB, so he can play like this. He has almost 3k HP. He has Skadi, almost MKB. So even though this game looks pretty Unique favored, I would still say HellRaisers is in a good position just because of how strong this Void is. And with them, MKB is actually gonna have a very big power spike on damage. So they're gonna be respecting this Void more and more. They did use a buyback on Grimstroke there, so they did force something out. Still, like, the problem of Unique's draft is that they don't really push the high ground really well with their heroes. So they kind of have to kill at least like 3 heroes out of HellRaisers before they can pressure high ground well enough.
Yeah, that's the awkward part. Like, actually, Unique, give credit where credit's due. Their lineup defends high ground, defends objectives very well. But, like, that's the thing. You don't want to be relying on that, because when you look at HR's heroes, if they get the jump first, the damage is gonna be fatal for Unique.
Yep.
Also, I just love the kind of itemizations in terms of neutral items, right? Like Paladin Sword, obviously a great one for Durachio. Also having this cast range nearby with the Time Walk talents as well. Like, Durachio's ability to initiate is pretty absurd.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like the Scotty pickup makes more sense in that sense that like you don't even need to start go in with the chrono. Like unless you get a really chrono, obviously you want to use that. But you just have this chase potential. Like you have your time dilation. It's a nice tool as well. But like people don't really buy diffusal anymore on Void that much. So Scotty at least gives you that potential of like you get that one hit, you can get some slows and some bashes, and suddenly you can get a kill like out of nowhere, kind of. Especially now with this MKB, because you have so much damage now. So to be respecting that.
To be honest, I don't think he even cares about the slows so much. I mean, he did take the attack speed talent at 20 as well. Now that MKB you also mentioned. I get the feeling we're going to see some perma stunnage very quickly here.
Yeah, there's a big chance for that. I think the game is about their next Russian a lot now. Both teams kind of wanna secure that. It's a really good tool for Unique in that sense that you can get a save for the chrono. You can maybe even give the Aegis to Invoker if you get it. But at the same time, HellRaisers is not gonna give that for free because they know it's like a perfect answer for the Void having an Aegis. So both teams are gonna be needing to fight for that.
Yeah, it's a case of like the first one was kind of for free because HR was forced to use the big team fight ultimates, right? Now you're in the situation where if you're Unique, you really need this Aegis to try and close out the game. Because when you look at the state of the map from a building perspective, like this is either the bounce back moment for HR or Unique's ability to like plow through and end the game.
Yeah, pretty much. So, even though if Unique loses like a fight, they're still in an okay position. But at the same time, if HellRaisers wins like one more fight, they're gonna just accelerate way more. So it's gonna be for sure. This Russian is gonna be a really important factor right now. Either team is gonna get it. It's gonna have a good shot at winning the game right now.
That's what I'd like to hear. In fact, Win probably kind of is a bit biased towards Unique, not gonna lie. Still these Spectres. It's always 89%. I don't know if I'd agree with those numbers. If I'm Unique right now, this is squeaky bum time because HR are a little bit spooky. Ratio forced to use the BKB, movement in, looking for an opportunity here, but unable to find it. The Horn towards the back line. They actually go in on the side of Unique. The RP has to be committed on the 19 team, but used the BKB already, so it means he doesn't care about the Viper. They have to back away. And with that being the case, the Chrono not actually doing enough from Duratio either. You just handed over Roche to Unique, and you might even hand over your life into the Faceless Void. Cold Snap, trying to move away, but not far enough. You haven't got the telescope nearby. You don't have the cast range, and you don't have the life to live.
That's just really nice to play from Unique. They start on the Void. They know that all the here, like the enemy, like HellRaiser's team is behind the Void somewhere. But you start on this Void with just poking him with your long range spells. You don't really commit your heroes. And what Void needs to, okay, well, Nongrad can die here as well.
That's the dieback though. He hasn't died since that, so you're gonna lose buildings now. You just gave them access to your base. It's not done. They're looking for more. They're gonna find also Kaysani looming around, and as a result, he's gonna be dead just as long as the other two.
Yeah, I was gonna say that just a really nice play from in the top lane that they force out the Void BKB by like using these long range spells without committing their heroes. So the Void is needing the BKB and then he jumps in and Chronos, but it's like his team is so far away and the Spectre just hones in and kills, kind of deals with that. So they just guide this Void really well. Even though this Void is really farmed, he's kind of the only hero in this team. So if you can deal with that, HellRaisers doesn't really have any answers.
Oh, Storm Chrono, they go in. There's going to be a Cataclysm coming through, and this just might end HellRaisers right there. That is going to be a dieback for Kaysani. You know, maybe they were thinking about Roche after the racks, but now I think they might just hang around.
Yeah, there's no buyback now. They know that as well on the Viper, so if they catch Lil as well, that's gonna be a really big problem. But there should be at least one side of racks. Maybe they're gonna go for Roche.
Yeah, they decide to play it safe. But right now, HR, you are on notice. No buyback now on your Viper, no buyback on your Skywrath. And, I mean, it's going to be
actually gonna go to base. Okay, they want to region up and then go. Okay. I mean, they have a lot of time. Sunny is dead for 60 seconds without a buyback, so they can definitely still go for the Russian. But yeah, nice stolen chrono play there. Cool play from Illusion there, as well as GPK using their Cataclysm chrono combo really well.
I always love to see that combo. It's really great when you can draft an Invoker, not have to draft the Faceless Void, and just get it still.
yeah. Just get a Rubik who gets that chrono.
I still remember seeing some teams when they first made that axe change to Invoker, trying to like spam that combo and going, oh, you know, it's not too effective when we just kind of rush this axe and rely on that as our chrono damage.
Yeah. I mean, was maybe forced a little bit at the start, and that's still the Cataclysm is so much damage if you can get it, but it is often doesn't work out, but here it does.
It's like in late game is good, right? But like, if you imagine as your rush combo, because like you know, Face the Void in the early phase, you want like this sort of damage amplification in the chrono, right? Early Cataclysm wasn't really the way, but late game Cataclysm very spooky. And things are a little bit spooky for Dyrachyo. They're going to actually move forward. 19 team does go in with the Horn, looking for the backline instead as he'll snipe out Lil. That's going to be his dieback. Meanwhile, in the middle of the main fight, BCZ holding his ground. RP, they're going to connect on the two, dragging them in. The Chrono Flop as well to try and bring down GPK and Phoenix. They'll be able to get the kills. But can you get more? Because I feel like you really need more out of this right now. Otherwise, Unique are just going to wait until they're all up and look to go again. BCZ, they're going to TP away. Nice skewer through by Funnick. They will find the Underlord in the tree line and run him down.
All right. Well, that turned out different than I expected. They don't really get a good haunt out of that. Like, they kill Lil, but Lil is completely, like, away from his team. So getting those follow-up kills is not good. And pretty great RP from Funnick into a follow-up Chrono. So still hanging in there, even though they got the Aegis on Unique.
I mean, I'm going to agree with you fully about that haunt situation. When I saw that, I was like, wait, I thought for a second in my mind, it's like, was this the third Roche? Did we just get an Ags pickup? Because there's no way you see the Void and commit the haunt at that moment. They were incredibly split up on the side of Unique.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, to be fair as well. I wasn't sure about that fight. I mean, maybe they just feel so strong because they got the Aegis and, like, they don't care. But, I mean, still, you need to respect these ultimates of side of HellRaisers. I mean, you're in a good position on Unique, but one or two more fights like that, and you can actually just be on the even on the game again. You still have only gotten one range track, and that kind of means nothing at this point in the game.
And you know, you can talk about sniping out these supports of HellRaisers, but like the way that this draft functions, as long as they've got their big ultimates, you know, you look at the Grimstroke, you look at the Skyrath, they're a mediocre bonus on the side. They're not what matters for the side of HR. So this Spectre sniping out your 4 and 5 isn't really as relevant as it was, I want to say, like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's like you need to be respecting the Void Magnus way more. Sure, you can kill the supports, but and they're important kills as well. Their supports, they do a lot of damage, and they have some spells that can be annoying to deal with. But in the end, it's gonna be this Chrono and this RP that is gonna make the fight difference. If it's gonna be good or not. You saw the top fight earlier, when the Chrono was kind of whiffed. They just lost the fight instant. But now they get the good RP and Chrono, and just their fight even with Aegis. So they had to respect that.
Yeah, you can just see how awkward it feels. They just want to approach the base, and they know they can't. Like, the window is already closed. Like, Chrono's available again in 10 seconds. RP was already up again, and you can already see, like, the way that Funnick's built as well. He understands. Like, his role in this game isn't to do damage, right? It's to enable damage, not just through the Empower, but also through the initiation with both the Shadowblade and the Blink Dagger, and also finding a timeless relic on a Magnus in this type of game.
I mean, it's a problem for their lineup that they can't really push these towers if they can't kill them, because the Spectre can't just go and hit the tower. Even with the Aegis, they can just use a Nether Toxin and just hit him if he wants to hit any buildings. So they have to kill them, and that's just how it's gonna be.
They actually jumped in. They see they're at the base. Decides to target down to half HP. The lift comes out from the room to lock him down and kill him off. Soulbind will not stop 19 though. He pursues forward, finds himself the double kill. Dyrachyo does go in. Doesn't want to use the Chrono just yet though, but BZZ, he's trying to force it out of him. BKB gets activated, moves forward on to Vanscore. The Chrono though only just clips onto the Spectre, and he's running for the high hills. And they know GPK is there. He is pursuing. Tornado through is off the mark, but Dyrachyo needs to be careful. They look the wrong way. He might just get away with this. The problem is you did just use the Chrono for this. Yes, you forced the buyback out the Phoenix. And now they can move towards your base.
Yeah, they should be able to get something here. I mean, they're gonna be up
Funnick.
in... Okay, Funnick is... This is a more important...
I think he's very much gone here. He's the man with the RP, and he ain't got a chance in hell of getting away from this initiation. Or has he? There it is,
Now
Dust. Illusion's like, goddamn cause and the slot efficiency.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they need to do. They just need to keep killing them. They gotta run mid, but they just need to keep killing them and try to get these lanes out. That's what the best way they can push out. They might catch the Ratchet here.
They're looking. No BKB for 10 seconds. Is that enough time to bring down the big bad Void though? 3.5k HP. Good luck getting through it. And with the Invoker chopping through him, it should be good enough. He's gone. 100 seconds dead. I think HR is going to be hitting the buyback on a few heroes here.
Yeah, they should be able to. And there's a good ulti as well from BCC. Straight up mid, just go push. So this is gonna be a buyback, most likely for the Void at least.
Again, this time on the Lil. The Sunstrike through as well to bring him low, and the Lift follow-up will ensure that they're gonna pluck this chick in the RP though. The buybacks are coming out, they're trying to do enough, but they may be too staggered. Funnick has to retreat, Duracho goes in with the BKB, has to turn towards the egg. Master managed to get through it, yes! He will succeed, but now the magic community is gone. He needs to be careful. 19 stuns him up. Shiva's got to slow him down as well. Duracho stuck on the spot, moves across to the Time Walk to look to finish up the kill on the Rubik. Will bring him down, but they are all extremely low. But it looks like Unique are out of resources. They have to once again retreat away from HR's base.
Yeah, HellRaisers is still defending. It's a costly defense, but they're holding. I mean, it's just they get the chrono. They get the free kill on the Skyrat, but they kind of go out of position a little bit for that kill, and then both of the supports can die for it. But I don't know. I think Unique is still fine with that. They force the buybacks, so they can now if they just kill the Void or the Magnus, it's gonna be really big kills for them, and they should look to kill those heroes in the next upcoming fights. They know that they don't have buybacks now.
Yeah, you've exposed weaknesses in HR's draft. And like we've been saying time and time again, right? It's the way Unique has to play. It's like, what do we want? Kills. When do we want them? Now. Who's going to hit buildings? Guys? Okay, I guess we need more kills then.
Yeah. We just need to kill. Kill. You need to kill them until they're so done that they need to call the GG on HellRaisers.
I see. You just want to
that's the way of pushing.
Them. You don't break their throne, you break their spirit.
Yeah. That's the way you push them. You just kill them so many times that they can't. They just want to go next game.
You kill them so many times that the code just craps out, forces an error, and then kicks the entirety of HR.
Yeah.
12-hour game incoming, boys. Let's go.
Let's go.
I actually wonder what would happen at that point. I still remember the classic one that Owen had, the 3-hour game, where some really weird stuff started occurring, right? Where the graphics started crapping out and everything got really trippy and wasn't showing correctly for spectators.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I mean, average game length has gone a bit up a little bit. I think there's more 60-minute games again. So, I mean,
maybe this one will be a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think this one will be a bit quicker, but in general, I think it has gone from 1 or 2 months. I think it was more shorter games.
Yeah, it's become less about the lane. You can still now recover as they're going to try and recover from this fight as it starts with Viper being brought low, able to force stuff away. Soulbind links the two together. Funnick, he can't get the RP out though. This deal's going to be there. Illusion uses it against the Void. The X's going to go down as well, and he's locked on the spot for too long. BKB turn around to try and fight with the Spectre. Moves forward to clean up Illusion instead. They zone away from the egg and look to regroup, and HR looking a lot more healthy than their opponents right now as Void will go in once more. BCC is no longer scary for him. He might need to be a little bit careful. Some ready to heal up. They're going to try and Uber out. That's not good enough. BCC is gone. Fan score. That's going to be him brought down as well. And HR taking this fight midpoint in the map now allows them to push forward into Radiant territory.
All right. And no one dies from HellRaiser as well. Now they have a creep wave right away. So this is a perfect scenario. Let's go. Let's go push. And they don't have buybacks on either of the supports here. And they still have the chrono.
So, and I think they're probably going to look to just go for the jugular here, like with how much damage the Void dishes out now.
Yeah, they could, but it is still pretty hard. Now the Underlord is going to buy back, and there's going to be a constant mana, and they even have repair kits, so they're probably going to be...
Of course both teams get repair kits in this game.
Yeah. They're going to be happy if they can get more... I mean, they're probably happy with that buyback already, since they still have their spells.
And Roche is up as well.
Yeah, that's probably the best objective they can go for right now. They can get the Roche.
They've been spotted out though, going towards the pit.
Yeah, I'm sure Unique wants to fight this. They should try to fight this.
I mean, can you? Duracho is pretty quick here. He supports. I don't know if they're going to make it there in time. You can already see BZC is going to be scouted by the ward.
Oh, they can't. They're too late, yeah. I mean, they don't have a Haunt as well, so it's hard. That's certainly this game has turned around completely. One fight.
And it's not going to get any easier. It's not just the fact that now finally HR are able to get their hands on that Aegis of Immortality. It's not just the fact they've got this cheese, but now they're going to have a Spectre on their team because they've got the Dark Portrait on Grimstroke.
That that portrait is gonna help a lot. If you can get it on the Spectre, and you can just use that illusion to deal with, like, it's gonna deal a lot of damage on this support especially, like this Rubik and maybe the Invoker as well. You can be pretty annoyed by this illusion, so nice little illusion there to have.
I think what you know to feed into what we're talking about, you break the mind, you break their spirit, right? You take Spectre as an illusion and then kill illusion with the illusion, right?
Yeah,
Which then sends him into a spiral of self-doubt on whether he's real or not.
that's true. This
Fine
Void
game.
is really farmed. He's gonna have a butterfly as well. He just also got the Aghanim Blessing. He just bought it himself, so he's really strong at this point.
Getting close to
Still
that
has
level
the
30
chrono.
as well.
Yeah.
And also, like in this game, he took the backtrack at 25. It's not something we mentioned, but now he's going to get into a fight. He does get hit up by the Abyssal. I don't know if they have the damage. They're going to try the Electric to bring him down. Burner for his mana quickly forces him to fight, and they move away from him as soon as they realize he's no longer a threat. Beautifully done by 19 team to move forward. The Soulbind's thrown out, but nobody's nearby, and the RP is being held onto for the moment. They're moving now towards him. The BKB on 19 team to stop him getting the break. It's reduced to the damage he's taken, but Deracio's healed up enough that he's able to keep fighting. 19 team trying to escape. The egg pops just in time. 19 team forced out of there just in time, and the Root follow up to get Faceless Void low. They can't even kill off BCC. He should be able to escape. GPK hangs around just long enough to bait him, and they get out. They force the use of the RP. No chrono was available because Dyrachyo never had the goddamn mana. Yeah, it costs you your horn, but you repel the forces of HR.
You got 2 buybacks out of that as well, and you didn't lose anything on yourself, so you're really happy with that. Just hard for Dyrachyo. Like, the problem, like, the way they won that fight earlier was just like, they didn't even need to use chrono in that fight, but it was just like the perfect execution. They got the right heroes and they got the kills. But in this scenario, again, Void is very split away from his team. He goes in, but his team gets haunted in, and then suddenly this fight is like split. The Void is just getting kited, and the Spectre is getting to do whatever he wants. But whenever HellRaisers wins the fight, is that Spectre is kind of in trouble, and he can't do this. He can't kill those supports alone. So Dyrachyo needs to be a bit more careful how he jumps in. He needs to think about his team more in that way, that if he goes in too far, his team can't follow him up. So he has to understand that, and then they can win the fights. They just need to fight in a way that the Void can use to help their supports, because their supports is still a big part of the fight on HellRaiser.
It's the dangerous part of this, though, right? Like we see what Side Unique are doing very well is the using his mana pool situation to his disadvantage. Like, he is easily burned of enough to be able to throw out chrono, and despite this being hyper late game scenario, without that chrono, you struggle so much to actually confirm a kill.
Yeah, it's just like you have so much farm on Void, but you can still, there's gonna be like some gold snaps. There's gonna be some EMPs, roots, attack speed slows, whatever. There's gonna be a lot of spells that you don't want to use your BKB in to get a kill. But you can see, like, he just gets kited in these fights. Like, if you use that BKB, you can die. So he needs to be careful. The only difference is that he has an Aegis, so I would like him to maybe just use the BKB, get the kill, because right now what has happened in 2 fights that he just doesn't get to use his chrono, and then he just gets kited, and his team kind of dies for it. So he needs to think about more his positioning, or then think about using the chrono more easier. Maybe he doesn't want to get that perfect chrono, but needs to use the spell better.
You know, the perfect chrono really is just about one target, but they are not going to be able to find him quick enough. 19T goes in, the RP connects on them all, the stolen RP, beautifully done to bring them all down. Dyrachyo, yeah, you've got this Aegis, yeah, you've got this chrono, but where's your team? 5-on-1, bring it, boy. Not once, but twice, this boy is going to go to his grave. And with that move, Unique will look to try and close this one. Dyrachyo will be closed in on, controlled up. He has no buyback. He cannot afford to die here, but he has no choice in the matter. And once again, back-to-back, illusion on point throughout this game, proving why Rubik is the godly football of the meta. GG. They actually just call it there.
I mean, just the godlike play from Illusion there. The combo coming in with the stolen RP and the Cataclysm. Man, good stuff. Good stuff. That game just took I don't know, that game went from like one team winning to one team winning to one team winning to one team winning. It was like,
That
and
was
then in
like
the end,
that,
Unique just won it.
that was like, you know, tennis rally but there's nothing friendly about it. It's clearly a competition. Everyone's trying to end that game, but like honestly, no one more decisive about it than Mr. Hello Kitty here, Illusion, with I want to say one of his best Rubik performances I've seen. That was insane. Back to back the steals, not just the chronos, proving the RPs, the time walks as well. He kind of gave us that preview. Remember right at the start, the tier 1 bot when he's like, I can dodge RP with time walk. You're like,
Yeah.
is he feeling himself this game? And you just get to this stage, like he's feeling himself.
Yeah, he felt himself this game. It's really, just really good, cool Rubik performance. It's always nice to see some cool Rubik stuff happening in the game. Like never gets old to see this stuff. Very very cool to see, and yeah, it's nice play from Unique. Very important win for them. Like they need these wins still, and they're still like this was kind of in their hands the whole game, but kind of slip away from them a little bit, giving that edges to HellRaisers. But they just executed really well in these team fights and get the win in the end. So, but yeah, nicely done from Illusion there in that last fight. Really really important.
Yeah,
Oh, really cool play.
it's great. Like the way we've opened this day is already like you come in these series right, and I mean I believe previous days we've opened up these days with maybe a stomp here or there, and I think this just kind of goes to show that when you bring these teams in the same region together, especially right, these people who are interacting on the pub level regularly, they're probably scrimming against each other. Like you felt that throughout this game that like the gives and takes between Unique and HellRaisers, they had a pretty deep understanding of how both sides play. Not just their draft, but play as players and as a team.
Yeah.
And that makes for interesting Dota, folks. Which is why I am happy to announce that is just the first game. There's one more to come between these two teams. Team Unique versus HellRaisers, opening the day with one hell of a game. And let's see if we can make it as one hell of a series as we hit a short break. And then we'll return for the second game of this best of two.